When you hear the word debate, you probably think of this. You probably don't think of this.
So what is Tibetan debate?
It exists before Buddhism arrived to Tibet.
Tibetan debate began in India. Debates were originally held between different religious groups, including Hindus and Buddhists from disparate regions.
And one of the things you had to do if you were going to be an early Buddhist teacher was you had to be able to defend what you held to be true.
These debates had very high stakes, with the losing party often being forced to convert to the views of the victor. If you couldn't defeat a view, you were compelled to accept it.
You have to have a good debate to challenging minds of the others' view that you consider their views wrong. And that's the fundamental, go back to 2nd, 3rd century Indian scholarly tradition.
Right? We started with different religions arguing against each other. It moved more to within one religion. So Tibetan Buddhists would debate other Tibetan Buddhists, usually from different monasteries, right? And the focus kind of started to change because now you're not, there's a more familiar common ground to begin with.
Oh, lighting. Okay. Now that you know the history of debate, this is how it works.
Debate involves two or more monks occupying the positions of the defender and the challenger. The defender is sitting down, literally defending the ground and being held to consistency of the assertions he or she agrees to, whereas the challenger is standing and challenges the statements of the defender without being held to consistency for the statements. The challenger's statements take the form of syllogisms, which consist of a thesis of a reason, both what is to be proven and the proof, all in one sentence.
Influential conditions, such as all mammals are womb blood, well are mammal, therefore well are womb blood. That's called syllogism.
In other words, a claim supported by a minor and major premise. For example, Toby has a nose because he is a human. In this case, the minor premise is that Toby is a human, and the major premise is that all humans have noses. Once the syllogism has been posed, the defender gives one of three potential responses. The reasons being, the reason is not established, there is no provision, and I accept it.
You can't, try and make stuff up. You can either say that the major premise is wrong, the minor premise is wrong, or you accept the claim. And these claims get stacked up, and as a defender, you're trying to make sure that none of those claims contradict each other. Whereas as the attacker, you're trying to make the contradiction happen. That's how you win.
Every single subject matters determined by fact, reason, logics.
These monks and nuns sit down and memorize a huge corpus of literature during this particular activity that we call, debate. These texts can be brought forward in support of whatever claim they're trying to defend.
So there actually isn't really a way for the defender to formally win a debate. At best, it ends in a draw for them. The attacker, however, can win definitively, and that's if they get the defender to contradict themselves.
Now, there are a great deal, if you have seen the films, there is a great deal of histrionics and theatrics, but it does make the debates very entertaining. And I don't know, I think there is something about the physical embodiment of knowledge that occurs when they're doing their hands like that.
And whilst, yes, a lot of that is just to bring theatricality to kind of what might be a boring subject, there's a lot of ritual meaning there as well. So like when they're clapping their hands together, one hand represents knowledge and the other hand represents compassion. And you bring them together and that's what that symbolizes. And they'll stomp their feet. That symbolizes slamming shut the door to like lower levels of rebirth. So that's those movements have actual meaning to them as well. So what's the big takeaway, right? Why does Tibetan Buddhist debate matter for us over here in America? We're not Buddhists, we're not Tibetan. Why is it important? There's a couple reasons. Scientists have measured the brain activity and brain functions that are associated with the monks when they perform debate, and there's some really cool stuff that happens. So one of the big ones is it increases your ability to store information in your working memory.
I think the really successful debaters have at their fingertips, by which I mean memorized, the most number of texts.
It helps you manage your stress. And then another kind of interesting side effect of this is that due to the nature of this material, right, these Buddhist philosophies, studying it and then putting it into practice and debating it, it decreases your self-centering. So basically what that means is it's kind of like the ability to get out of your own head. Being able to do that has been directly linked to lower depression rates and other mental disorders like anxiety. So if debate can help do this decentering process, then there's a direct correlation to better coping with depression and preventing it in the first place. Mentioning like I have written down on here cheesy wrap up at the end. Like even if we really wanted to play that card at the end, all of us could be like, it's amazing like how much I've learned, and like have like the dramatic piano music like playing. Like yeah, I'd be down for something like that. So.